Hello, welcome to this lecture. In this presentation, we are going to introduce the idea of TypeObject. The goals for this presentation is to introduce the difference about having information for a set of objects, a family of objects, and some specific for each of them. We are going to see that this is another way of sharing the information, and we are going finally to introduce TypeObject. Let's start with an example. Imagine that we have a collection of cactus, and we have a family of cactus of different kinds. We will have different species of cactus, but we are going to have different cactus of each of these species. So we are going to have information that is depending for each of the plants and for each of the families. We are going to have here the difference between having information for each of the elements, for each of the individuals in our collection, and the description of all of them. Because for each of them, we can have different flowers, different colors, different pest attack, different dates of planting and collecting, and this information is different from each of the individual plants. But we are going to have common information for each of the species. Still, we are going to have, as I say, common information for all the plants of a given species. For example, we are going to have the name, the type, the origin, and all the information that we can have from them. Let's see another example to make it clear. If we have a system to handle video rental, we are going to have the difference between each physical movie and the movie itself. We are going to have each object representing a Blu-ray and a specific instance of a Blu-ray, and we are going to see there, for example, if the Blu-ray is scratched or if the box is broken, and then we are going to have information about the movie itself that they are represented. In this case, how we can implement this dichotomy of having information that is common to many objects and information that is specific of each instance? Well, we can implement this by two different solutions. The first solution is that we can have all the information in a given class, in a given object. So we can have in the instance of the movie or in the instance of the cactus all the information from the family and from itself. Or we can have them separated. Let's see the first alternative. Let's put them together all in a single instance, in a single object. So we will have in the same object all the common information. We are going to have the information of the, for example, for the video, we are going to have the information if the box is okay, if the disc is scratched or not, but also we are going to have the title of the movie, the actors in the movie, and all the information that is common to all the instances. The problem with this is that we will not be able to change this information dynamically, in two senses. One is that we cannot add a new information, or you cannot change the type of the movie. We cannot say that now this movie is one or other. And also, our instance, we are going to get really big because we start having all the information related to this movie. Moreover, we are going to have duplicated information in all instances. For example, if we have, again, the same example about movies. If we have two objects, two instances representing two different Blu-rays of a single movie, I don't know, the movie Rambo 3, we are going to have the same duplicated information about the actors, about the movie, about the release date, and common information duplicated in both objects. So if we have to modify them because we have to fix some information on this, we are going to modify all the instances. And also we have duplication of this information. So the idea is to introduce the concept of TypeObject. In TypeObject, we are going to describe in a single object the description of our initial object. For example, we are going to separate the plant and its plant description. What we are going to put in each of these objects, we are going to have two different objects, is that we are going to have in the plant side all the information that is specific to this plant, And we are going to have, for example, the position, where is in our collection physically, or the date of that has been planned, or a lot of the information that is specific to this plant. And then in the description, we are going to put the information that is common to all the plants of this same species. We are going to have, for example, the scientific name of the species, the kind of species, the origin of the species, what are the specific features of this family of plants. In this case, we are going to share this description between many instances. We are going to have different objects plant that represents different cactus in our collection. And all of them will share the same description representing the species of our plants. We are going to gather all the description specific properties in a single object. That is the objective of the type object, having an object that describes the common information of many of them. That in this way, we don't have repeated information. We don't have information in each of the instances, but the common one, we pass it all together in a single point. Remember that having a single point is always better, because if we want to update the information here, it's easy and we can change it only once. And also we don't have a duplication in memory. More specific example, we want to define the instance specific properties, the properties that are specific for a single object. And we want to define properties that are basically from the description of that instance. In this example, it's more clear. We see that for the plant, we are going to have a specific information for each of them. For example, the size, the age, when it was attacked by a given pest. And in the description, we are going to have all the common information for all the same species. For example, in which set of countries is it, or what are the other names for it. Like this, we can have divided what is the instance specific information, and we can have the kind or type object information. Having the type object as a separate object of our instance is that we can change, depending on the domain, we are now able to change the type objects of a plant or of a given instance. In this case, it depends a lot of the domain, but we can do that. Our descriptions evolve while the program executes. We can have that our plant starts having a given type, a given description, call it plant description, and then in a part of our program, in a part of the lifetime of our object, we realize that this plant is not from this species. We can easily change to another description. Of course, in the example of the plants, this is not normal because the plant does not evolve from one species to the other, but this is a way of handling that. We can have now a dynamic relationship between the object itself, the instance of our representing our object in the real life, with the description of it. And also one important thing is that as we have a single point where the descriptions, this already we have said, but it's important, as we have a single point of description for a given family, if we change that single point, for example, adding or changing one of the attributes, it will affect all described instances. And this is what we want to have coherence between the plants, because the worst case scenario that we can have in the other solution, where all the information is in a single object but is duplicated in different instances, is that we rename or we fix a typo in the scientific name of the plant, and we have some plants with the typo and some plants that are okay. So this is bad problem. But fixing a typo in the plant description, it only takes changing it in a single point. As a conclusion, the idea of type object is that we want to reify the description of a given object. We want to split the object in two different parts. One part that is specific for a given instance and one part that is common between many instances. Like this, we can make explicit this relationship. As we do always when we create objects, we are going to encapsulate the state and the behavior. In this case, we are going to extract the behavior that is common to a set of objects. And doing that, we can now have a dynamic way of changing this description and a more flexible way to handle in a single point all these descriptions.